It's time for your mid-October look at Truman Lake, courtesy of Tackle HD, and presented today by FISH30's Dave McCormick.
Well, welcome back to another Truman Lake fishing report. I wish I could tell you I had been out today because we had rain. I'm going to tell you, I don't know how long it's been since we had a really measurable rainfall and the Truman area got it. So sometimes when that stuff happens, if I was there this morning, the first thing I would have been doing is probing into the back of the very backs of the creeks to see if there's water still running in. In Missouri, that can be, doesn't matter if it's Truman, Lake of the Ozarks, Table Rock, Stockton, Pomme de Terre, they all have a run-in bite in the fall. So we had almost an inch of rain. So that would have absolutely dominated my thought process this morning if I was out fishing on Truman. So I guess my point is I wish I had that kind of information for you, but I don't. I'll just tell you about what I do know about that. Before that rainfall, the water had finally started to cool, and we've got the shad moving and grouping up, and fish are busting through them, and you know it's interesting. Sometimes those fish really cooperate, and sometimes they don't. So I'll tell you this: when you are stacked and the shad are literally flicking on top of the surface, and that's all you see, I sometimes have a hard time making them bite the exact same thing. Sometimes we use the exact opposite approach where, okay, I'm going to put on my 10-inch worm and I'm going to drop that 10-inch worm in and around the edge of everything, and that's like nothing they're seeing. And it does work. So give that a thought. I'm going to go through some baits and some thoughts on some areas in the lake, because really I think the bait selection is secondary. It's your locations. You're realizing that this lake is cooling from the edges in. So the flattest areas, some of the spots in the backs of the creeks, or some of the flattest areas on the main lake are really gonna take off here in the next week or two as we fall under 70 into the 65 range. We'll really see some magic stuff happen on those shallow offshore spots. I mean, shallow is in a couple, 2 or 3 feet, and right up on the bank. And that right up on the bank is gonna really take off. So, all right, had to go out there and get that off the deck of the boat to show you, because I really think if we're going out early in the morning, in the fall, we're gonna fish super shallow, lay downs, anything hanging off the bank onto a flat bank. A log, a laid down tree, a cedar that's fallen over, any of that stuff. I really think that one of these two, that being like a chopping or whopper plopper style or chopo style, or the old buzz bait. I mean, it's pretty hard to say bad things about the buzz bait because so many big bags of fish have come in on it, and it's such a versatile bait, and it's you can really work it around the wood and keep from getting hung up, where this, if it works its way over and touches it, you're hung up, you got to go get it. So 2 thoughts on that, but they both work well. I don't think I discriminate. I might even have 2 separate topwater plug poles on the deck of the boat. We could talk about something I've been doing as a follow-up bait in those shallow areas. When the fish misses, I've gone with this giant one. I know that seems crazy, but Truman can handle it. It's got big gizzards in it. That's what that's mimicking. That's just a giant jerk bait. And I put the dot on it with a Sharpie. I just like that because that's what our gizzard shad have. Big false eye on them, but weightless, and if a fish misses my topwater, I'm reeling that in real quick, and I'm setting that down, and I'm picking this guy up, and I'm laying it dead on where the splash was. And usually, if it's the good bait and switch that I'm trying, he's got it. It's really quite quick and powerful strike. And I've gone to this little bit bigger size just to kind of see. I'm playing with it. I do normally like just a 5 or 6 inch size. This is a 7 inch, so it's considered large in the stick bait world. But that's a follow-up bait. But we're going to talk about 2 other techniques that are fire too. And there's 2 complete thoughts on that. So if you're in that same scenario and all those shad are everywhere, and gosh, you keep throwing this and it looks like everybody else, and it's hard to get this to really stand out, do something opposite. We've done it where we go to a brim or perch or crawfish pattern that's not a shad pattern, and throw in there and try to look different and get the strike, get the bite. But I'm probably going to have both a shad colored square bill and a non-shad color. We'll just say that. This is one of the choices I pick if the water's pretty clear. There's also, it just hasn't started for me. I'm sure other guys have started catching them on the spinner baits, but water's not cold enough yet. We've had such a warm fall. The length of the day is pushing everybody up shallow, but I'm just not sure all the schoolers have come in yet. But we're not far from it, I assure you. We get more rain and more cold fronts, and gosh, when all those fish are on the bank, it's something special. But give it a spinnerbait, a shot on those really windy days in those same areas where you're throwing it literally to the bank. I would also say, no matter what, the guys who know me know I'll also always have this tied on, and I'm prepared to throw it up shallow, real shallow. As a matter of fact, I'm letting a video go tonight that we win the tournament fishing, I'm going to say, between 1 foot and 8 foot, but offshore. A little different thought there. Shallow offshore. And it works, and they're all on the jig, and I think they're eating brim. So hey, take a kid fishing. The fall's a great time to get out and do it. You can throw those moving baits, the buzz bait, the chopo, the whopper plopper, the spinner bait, the square bill. Take a kid fishing, beat the bank. You're gonna have some fun, I promise. Especially where the water's a little dingy. Whew. I'm kind of looking forward to that. Check me out on FISH30. Got an incredible video coming out tonight on YouTube, FISH30. Check me out.
Acting like it is. Acting like it's a big one. It is a big one. Ooh, look at him. Ooh, that's a pretty good one right there. Look at it go. Look at the whirl. Oh, it's a bass. Oh, yeah, Steve-O! Look at that. Good save-o, Steve-O.